Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Dave Adams. In today's video, we're going to discuss CSS. We're going to talk about what CSS is, how to use it, and how it works with HTML. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Now, the word cascading in this context means anytime you apply a style to a parent, it is inherited by its children unless specified. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed. What this means is CSS gives you the flexibility to style HTML elements how you want them to be displayed. CSS saves a lot of time and work. It can control the layout of multiple pages at a time. What this means is one CSS file can be linked to multiple HTML pages, and it can help manipulate all these HTML pages. CSS consists of a selector and a declaration block. The syntax of CSS is a selector and a declaration block. The selector could be the tag name or the element name. It could also be the class name or an ID. And the declaration block is characterized by curly braces containing declarations. In this example, we have two declarations, and these declarations have a property name and a value. The first declaration is a color property, and it has a value of blue. Notice how there's a semicolon terminating the declaration. This also separates each declaration from the next one. So you can see that there are corresponding semicolons for each declaration. The second declaration, on the other hand, is a font size, and it has a value of 12 pixels. Now, using CSS, there are three ways to do this. You have the inline styling, which goes directly into the elements within the style attribute. So there's an example right here. We have an H1 element, and we have our style attribute. We have our property, our color property, and our blue value. And then we have the text content of the H1 tag. So this blue color will be applied to this text within the browser. When we come to internal styling, this goes right on the HTML page, but it goes within the style tags. And we have an example right here. We have the style tags, and we have the we have the CSS declarations, we have the property and the value, and so on. The last method on here is the external styling. This external styling goes onto an external style sheet, which is linked to the HTML file. Now, this is recommended because it makes your code clean, and it prevents your code from being clumsy as it separates the HTML and the CSS. Right here, we have an example of how this works. Within the head tag of the HTML file, we have our link tag. It has two attributes, which are the relationship, and we're going to state that the relationship is a style sheet, and we're going to place the source within the href attribute. Now, in our dedicated style sheet, which is the external style sheet, now we can start declaring our styling rules. We're targeting the body in this example, and we're applying a background color of powder blue. Talking about CSS selectors, there are various types, but in this course, we're going to focus on the two common ones that I know of. We have the simple selectors, which I've already touched on, and these are the name, ID, and class. We have the pseudo selectors, which I'm going to elaborate or demonstrate in Visual Studio Code. Now, pseudo classes work based on a state. So, for example, we have a button element. What could happen is when we hover over the button, we may want the color to change. When the button is clicked, we will want the color to change. So we target the button using these various states, and then we apply these different colors to the button. We also have the combinator selectors based on relationship with the element. We have the pseudo element selectors, which select and style a part of the element. We have the attribute selectors, which select based on the attribute or attribute value. And we're going to go into Visual Studio Code to get some practice. Opening Visual Studio Code, we have an example from our previous video, which was on HTML IDs. Now, there's an example of internal styling right here. We have our style tags, and we have our declaration blocks right here. And they target the class and the ID. So we have simple selectors We have the use of simple selectors right here. ID of underline, class red, class blue. We have our ID of underline, class red, class blue right here. We are selecting them and we are applying various style rules to them. When you open the browser, you can see that the underline has been applied here, the red color and the blue color as well. Now, switching it up to inline styling, I'm going to comment this out. Now you comment stuff by highlighting them and hitting Ctrl+//. I'm also going to comment this. I'm going to create a new element. I'm going to say paragraph. My caps lock is on, so I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to create a paragraph. Within the paragraph, I'm going to create a style attribute, and then I want to make the color green. And I want to place some text content. Now saving and going into the browser, we have some green text right here. So this is an example of inline styling. The style goes right within the element. Now, finally, I'm going to demonstrate how an external style sheet works. We have to create a CSS file. The conventional name for CSS files is style.css. Now, how are we going to link this to the HTML page? We're going to go right in the head tag. Above the title tag, we're going to create a link. And you can see that Emmet suggests some options for you. And it creates this. As you can see, the name is already here because that's the conventional name, as I said. Now we can go into the external sheet and then create various styles. I'm just going to target a div and I'm going to give it a border, maybe 4px, solid, yellow. I also want to specify a height of 100px and a width of 400px. Now I'm going to create that element right here. I'm just going to create a div. Now going into the browser, you can see that our div has been created. If we decide to inspect and highlight this in our developer tools, you can see all the styles have been applied. A border, a height, and a width. I have a video on how to use developer tools. It goes into details on how to use all these, the inspector and all that. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and share, and turn on post notifications.